Well, good afternoon and welcome. We have a guest this afternoon. Thank you for being here. Today, I want to talk and I want to actually explore. But before we do, Heidi, would it be possible if you could turn on your camera and we could have a conversational instead of me talking just to you? Would it be possible for us to engage at this point in time? If not, I'm okay with that. If you're good with it, I'm good too. So let's begin and go from the standpoint of what conversion is. And conversion is not about money, and it's about uh, the opportunity of what converts inside and how that relates to business. And really, the truth is, a lot of people use that word cheaply. I want to convert this. I want to convert to get more followers on Instagram or Facebook or within your own business activity. But let's begin. My name is Ron Gagosian. I own the Gagosian Group, and I guess if you asked me at a cocktail party, what do you do? I'd say I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have many ventures that I'm in, but this is one passion that I am significantly invested in. So, what I'd like to do is be able to chat with you today is that how do we get more people into and attracted to us? It's not about money. That is potentially something that we might be interested in. But in terms of conversion, I'd like to exclude a lot of the cheap chop talk and get into the things that really define and are some of the smaller things. Because if we're telling the truth, real conversion is not just transaction, it's a crossing, it's a change, and it's a shift from one state of being to another, from confusion to clarity, from hesitation to decision, from drift to direction, from passive interest to actual movement. Now, that could actually begin when we're at a meeting, we're engaging with people, we have a sales call, whatever your background is and what you're currently involved in in order for to make your current business go, there needs to be a currency and a conversion process inside. So from that aspect of conversion, before we actually begin to talk about what moves people towards us, let's talk about the internal. And if that change doesn't happen, that you've been thinking about, or you're saying something needs to shift, then all you may have created is just activity inside of you and not really transformation. And that's really the next step that I'd like to talk about. It really means identity. What is that identity? So today I want to talk about what conversion really is and why so much of what passes for conversion today is really shallow and overstated. And I'm going to say that again. Shallow and or overstated. And why honest conversion is one of the most important things in life, whether it's at the dinner table, out with friends, business associates, new potential clients, health, leadership. It's really about understanding that most people do not have an information problem. No, they have a conversion problem. They have a conversion problem. And I just put it out there in that really simple way to say it. If we were sitting over a cup of coffee, I'd say that particular issue is a conversion problem. So we live in a time where people can access almost anything: advice, podcasts. My goodness, just go to Spotify or to the Apple iTunes store or what have you. I mean, it's out there. There are you don't have enough time in a lifetime to listen to podcasts. Some are very good. Courses, videos, frameworks, coaches, mentors, strategies. And still, many people remain stuck. They really do. And why? Because information is not the same as conversion. A lot of people have information, but in order to convert, we need to act. And just because a person heard something does not mean it changed them. Just because they attended does not mean they crossed into nirvana or they crossed into some other they made it home, so to speak. So just because they signed up, say for today, Heidi, you signed up, it doesn't mean that you've committed to anything. It means specifically that you're interested. You're maybe looking for information. You're looking for, what does this guy really have to say? What's the point here today? So the point is, how do we convert internally to convert externally? A lot of people are not underinformed, they're unconverted. And until something real shifts inside, the outer condition really tends to keep repeating itself. So conversion is not a moment where someone pays for some type of seminar or leadership, 1 year program or something of that nature, or a program where there's 30,000 people online and you have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's a moment really where something becomes true. And this matters because the online world is taught in such a short period of time, which is really amazing. It's taught people to think that conversion means someone bought the course, someone clicked the link, someone entered the funnel, someone became a client, and someone joined the program. Now, I said that very deliberately. I said it because I wanted you to hear that. I really wanted to hear that as I went through the funnel, went through the client, went through the program, because that's how really in a matter of a decade, really, this is how we've become programmed. But that's only the outer expression. The deeper question is, did anything real, I didn't say really, but did anything real change? Did the person become clearer? Did the person become more honest? And I'm not talking necessarily outward, I'm talking about internal integrity, setting goals and being integrous to yourself. Did they become more committed? Did they move differently? Did they stop avoiding? And I'm going to add this: stop negotiating with themselves about what they already knew. Did they act in a way that aligns with the future they say they want? Because really, none of that possibly could happen if we're not really talking about something at a conversion level. It's all talk. There's a lot of people out there that promise that they'll get you through in the coaching world, the mentoring world, that in 6 months, in 8 months, in 12 months, and they'll guarantee that X will happen. Or they want to essentially show you with pictures and videos of what you're buying for them and what a great lifestyle they have. So sometimes it's just a purchase. Real conversion is when something true becomes active in a person. The industry, and the industry that I'm speaking about is the health and wellness, the mentoring, the self improvement, the coaching. There's the big, really big ones out there. There's the medium size. They're all out there. But real conversion, and I really don't hear in true honesty, in a very honest fashion, that real conversion usually takes longer than people admit. It really does. So, this is one of the biggest lies in the whole personal growth, coaching, consulting, and online business world. And I'm not here to drag them down or to in any way speak negatively. People are promised instant audience, fast money, rapid scaling, overnight traction, massive community, whether that's online or in some type of hall that you would book, and quick transformation. And then when it doesn't happen, and especially it doesn't happen right away, they assume something is wrong with them. You notice the key there? They're promised something, and when it doesn't happen, people begin to think there's something wrong with them. They need more information. There's the link. People think, well, it didn't happen, ergo, therefore, I need more information. But the truth is, most meaningful things take longer than people are really, really honest about, and especially to themselves, and especially to their own mentors. So, building trust takes time, building character takes time, building a body in your mind, your heart, and your physical body, and your exterior relationships. Building a voice takes time. The voice is not just the physical voice that we hear coming into our auditory canals, but it's really about your internal voice speaking out. So that all takes time. And it doesn't mean that really nothing is not happening. It just means something deeper may be forming. A lot of people quit what they're doing because the cash register did not ring fast enough, especially to ring fast enough to validate their work. But some of the most important conversions happen before the visible results actually arrive. I am dead serious, and I tell you the truth that if you're just starting out, whether it's in your business, the social media world, webinars, podcasts, and other types of group, community, virtual types of engagement, it takes time. And there takes time to become visible before the results arrive. So nothing is missing, but something still has to activate. And so a lot of people think they are one course more away, or one more mentor away, one more certification, one more system, one more perfect plan. But often what they need is not more acquisition and what I like to call capacity. They don't need more capacity, it's more activation. It's moving through that internal conversion into a stronger identity. Let me ask you a question, rhetorical question. Do you think that I just started doing webinars today? The answer is no. It's taken a lot of time to be able to get in front of a camera, to be able to meet with you, and sometimes to meet when there's 0 people online. You do it anyway. And there's not a reason to quit just because you have one person or 10 people, or thinking that you need to have 50 to 100 or more, 1,000 people. But what's missing is the conversion. The conversion from I know to I do. I've been meaning to. I've begun. I need more to. I will use what I have. That's where the power starts. That's where the power starts. So it's not about more capacity and more information. It's more internal. This is my goal. This is what I've stated. This is how I'm going to get there. And the real flex is not what your clients bought from you. The real flex, it's a new word, is who they became because you touched their life. The real flex is who they became because you touched their life. This is where I want to get very direct. A lot of people in this industry sell aspiration by showing you the car, the house, the watch, the jewelry, the vacation. I'm going to bore you a little bit more here. The first class seat, the new something shiny in the gold case, or the branding, the launch. It goes on, list goes on and on. The screenshots. Where have we seen that? You sit at dinner and you're, instead of talking, you're looking more at a person's phone because they're showing you everything in their phone. And that's fine. There's places for all of that. The money claims. And so maybe some of that is real, and I just admitted to that. But maybe some of it's not. But even when it's real, it can still miss the point entirely. And I say that because the person paying you is not paying you to admire your lifestyle. Okay? Let me say that again. Because the person paying you is not paying you to admire your lifestyle, they're not pulling money out of their wallets so they can fund your vanity. They're not saying yes, your potential clients, so you can go online and subtly show them, as I mentioned a little bit before, what they bought, the size house, the walk through their living room, out to the swimming pool or the cold plunge, while they disrobe and jump in for you and then jump out, and that's the end of the video. Those people that are watching those videos are looking for a solution. They're looking for relief. As I suppose people today are looking for a solution, and they're looking for relief. They're looking for clarity. They are looking for movement. They're looking for truth, and they're looking for change. So again, we talked about one level of flex. So the real flex here is not what you earned or what you project in terms of what you project to your potential clients or the people that you're speaking to. The real flex is how many lives were actually changed because you were there and you showed them through your life experience, through possibly your tears, through being real with them, and was able to integrate with them your experience to their experience. So that's a different standard. and much more, really, to be very, very honest, it's a very sacred one. So, honest conversion requires honesty from the guide. If you're coaching, consulting, leading, mentoring, and serving, or selling, you're teaching, or you're helping people anyway, in any form where you're speaking into them, this really matters. It really matters. You must honor the sacredness of what it means. I'm going to say that again. You must honor the sacredness of what it means when somebody trusts you. You can just get up and hold webinars, podcasts, and you see a lot of this all day long, all night long. And you sit there while you're watching these people speak, either together or in a separate webinar such as this, and you say to yourself, why would I trust this guy? Why would I trust this woman? Why would I trust this person? Because when somebody says yes to you, they're not just making a purchase, they're making a hope investment. They're saying, I hope this helps me. I hope this works for me. I hope this is real. I hope I can trust this. I hope something changes. That's sacred. That's sacred. So if you or I or anybody else in a position over promises in terms of performance or product performance or engagement performance, and they exaggerate or they make it more about their image than your transformation, that's a violation. And that's something very, very, very important and key. So the right posture is not hype. It's stewardship. It's integritas. Conversions create everything. So when you're converting inside, when the identity shift is happening, you're speaking directly into people. People are listening, and that hope begins to rise, and you need to meet that hope with your level of conversion, your identity. And then that's where conversion turns to truth and truth into movement. At the end of the day, nothing changes until something crosses. A person must cross from, I suppose, and I believe it is, in more ways than some, and it's limited, but you cross from knowing to doing, considering to deciding, admiring to committing, watching to participating, reacting to leading, and surviving to building. That is really powerful, because in certain businesses, you must survive as you're building. And that's true in health for your daily workouts or your swimming or your walking or your weightlifting or your jazzercise or whatever, or your cycling or your mountain climbing, and the discipline that it takes. That is true in business as well. That is true in confidence. That is true in relationships. That's true in purpose. And that's why conversions create everything. It begins with you and it translates into others. And it's not because they look good on a dashboard, your particular clients, but because they are the mechanism by which life actually changes. So you hear a lot today. You've got CRMs, you've got financial packages, you have a lot of different aspects. You've heard of KPIs, you've heard of all of these things. But when the cash register in your mind and in your understanding is not the whole story, but because the value is real, the cash register becomes a matter of time. And that's where you must begin to understand that it's not all about the cash register. Believe me, the cash register, income statements, cash flow statements all work and they have their place. And we all need to set goals and achieve them. But this is important too. Sometimes people think that if results are not immediate, then the work is invalid. And this is some of the major breakdown that we talk about at the Gagosian Group. I talk to CEOs, CFOs. There's always something that breaks down. But I don't believe that things take longer at times, but it's because the things that take longer than people are honest about, I believe trust takes time. I believe voice takes time. I believe reputation takes time. I believe the market often takes a minute to catch up to what is real. And I'm going to add this to who is real. It really does. It really does matter. And I also believe that if the value is real, if the service is real, if the transformation is real, and if the person stays in motion long enough and is shown multiple ways to stay in motion, and I call that movement, movement, movement creates momentum, momentum creates the final conversion into the cash register. But it all goes after the internal conversion. It's not fantasy time, it's not overnight time, but it's in real time. And that matters because a lot of people quit. They quit too soon and then call the process broken. They'll actually blame themselves and say, throw their hands in the air and say, I'm broken too. So, what does real conversion actually feel like? What does it feel like? Does it feel like hope? Does it feel like more intensity? Does it feel worthless? So, what it really feels like is usually quieter than the internet tells you. It's really true. And I bring that up because we spend a lot of time on the internet. So I have purposely put this in for you to hear because that's where we're getting a lot. That's our new community forum in this 26th year of the 21st century. It often looks like telling yourself the truth, making a clean decision, repeating the right action, saying it, and staying in it longer than your emotions want to, not quitting. Because the result is late and honoring the people you serve and refusing to build your image on someone else's hope. So I hope all of this is beginning to unfold itself and showing multiple layers at this point, that this is real and it's real conversion and it shouldn't be noisy. It shouldn't be theatrical and not inflated. It needs to be real. It needs to be deductive, narrowing. So let me bring this closer. If something in your life is not moving right now, the question, now think about this, the question may not be, What else do I need to learn? The question may be, what has not converted yet? Think about that. Take a breath and think about it a little bit more. Let's start from another perspective. Has your health converted from desire to discipline, meaning your workouts? It's almost April the 1st. Some of those January goals, have they been met? Are they engaged? Has your business converted from activity and intensity to actual offers? Has structure converted from intention to consistency? I'm going to say that again. Has your structure converted, meaning your daily architecture, from intention to consistency? A lot of people think, oh, I can do this. They work 4 or 5 days like bats flying out of a cave all at the same time to mere exhaustion. And then at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, those results aren't there on their KPIs. It's because they haven't learned to scale. They're they're calling them quick bursts. Instead of learning how to scale 7 days to 14 days to 30 days to 60 days to 90 days. That's what that's talking about. So because once that actually happens, things begin to move. Practical, 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 and it's experiential. So in my experience, people usually struggle in one of four places. And I'm going to pull the microphone a little bit closer. First is clarity. They do not yet see what the real issue is. Is that something in your life? And the second is courage. They see it, but they do not want to face the consequence of change. That could include for a high functioning individuals facing into some identity shift. Third, consistency. They begin, but they don't stay with it long enough for the change to compound. This gets back to why people's KPIs at the end of the month or the end of the quarter don't look exactly the way they had intended it for them to be, because they haven't learned the level of consistency compounded over days, weeks, months, quarters, years. So the commercial honesty aspect is the fourth. They want results, but they are not yet making clear asks, clear offers, clear decisions. That's where many people stall too. And it's not because they're broken, and I use that word again, but it's very true. People really do invalidate themselves before the show's even begun. And it's not because they're broken. It's not because something is missing. But at an internal level, it's because crossing that chasm hasn't fully happened yet. So you have the potential. It's there. It's innate. But there's a disconnect. There's a lot of reasons for that. So we need to transition that level of work. And there is work. And there's a lot of work. So helping people is what the real drag people think is, but it's not. It's about where they're at. It's where the crossing has not yet happened, and what needs to become honest, and what needs to become, and one fellow colleague calls his business the becoming code. I thought that was very, very interesting. The becoming code. And what needs to become structured, what needs to become active, sometimes that shows up in business. It really, really does. Business is a real litmus paper test of really how we conduct our internal lives. Someone once asked me as I was graduating from college, why do you want to be a business major? Why didn't you want to be a priest? Why didn't you want to be a doctor? Why didn't you want to be a lawyer? And I said, because business is really a true litmus paper test. If it works, it shows what is built inside of us. And so a lot of it, because of decision making, it goes that way. Sometimes it doesn't. So for whether it's a leadership issue or a life issue or something functional on the outside, let's ask for that deeper reset that needs to happen underneath. And once we can name that truth cleanly, movement becomes more possible. So ask yourself, does this resonate with you? Here's the question. You can tell I take this seriously. Where in your life do you know a real conversion needs to happen? Not a cosmetic one, not an image one, and not a performative one. I'm going to say that again very quickly. Where does it need to happen? And it's not cosmetic, it's not an image, and it's not performative. It's a real one. And if you know something in your business and the way you conduct in terms of leadership and the people you lead and the people that rely on you, and there's something in there that needs to convert or needs structure, or it's in your health, or your direction, or your momentum, even, then the next step is simple. Reach out, book a conversation, start the real one and the real conversation about what is actually going on and what needs to change. And the reason I say that is because sometimes the first honest, actual conversation, real conversation, is the crossing point. And from there, things begin to move. They really do begin to move. So, in closing, I'll leave you with this. No, we've said a lot. We've listened very intently here. Conversion is not all at the cash register. It starts in here and here. The world is full of noise, promises, posturing, and polished images, especially if you spend a lot of time on the internet. But real life still works at the same way it always has. That's what we're missing. The missing ingredient at times is truth, decision, commitment, consistency, service, transformation. That is what lasts. This is what I want people to remember. This is what I tell people. This is what we discuss at the Gagosian Group. This is what I discuss with my clients. And this is what people remember. There might be someone who's sitting in their car right now, crying their eyes out, with their hands covering their face because they need you. They're looking for someone like you. And that is what creates trust. That is why conversions create everything. Not because conversion is a clever sales word, but because conversion is the moment. It's the moment, excuse me. Something true begins to live. And as I close, I also want to honor my coach and mentor, CW, whose influence and deeply shaped way, and it has created a shaping in the way I think about truth, service, and real transformation. I'm grateful to you, CW, for that imprint, especially over the last year. And I really, really want to acknowledge it. I want to acknowledge it publicly today for you and about you. So thank you all for being here today. It has been my honor. It's been incredible to be able to sit with you for, I would say, this last 30 minutes or so. Not a long opportunity to be with you, but I just want to thank you again for being here. So don't settle for the appearance of movement. Go after the kind of conversion that actually changes your life. And that will begin the beginning code of how your business begins to transform, and your KPIs will change. Your movement will become consistent. You'll be able to track yourself from the short bursts to the 7-day stretches, to the 14 days, to the 1 months, to the 1 quarter, to the 2 quarters together consistently. Everyone and every real conversation can matter more than a full room of spectators. If this spoke to where you are, reach out directly. You can reach me at the Gagosian Group. It's at www.gagosiangroup.com. I would love to chat. You can schedule in a 30 to 45 minute, just a clarity call, no obligation, but it would be an opportunity for me to get to know you and discuss how you can see your level of consistency and movement build into momentum. So, with that, I want to thank you, and I want to just say it's just been an honor, and I'm excited to be able to be with you here today. And I hope that you can see that and hear that in my voice, and have a wonderful evening. Good night.